All right, so welcome everyone. Welcome Peter, Stacy, and Linda. I'm really glad that you guys could join us for our session today. Every Wednesday at 10, we bring together voices from across education to share what's happening in their world and also spark ideas that you guys can bring back to your system. For the next 30 minutes, we have 3 rules. 1 is to enjoy the conversation. 2 is to walk away with something that is new, so a new insight. And then 3 is to hopefully make a new connection or meaningful connection. My name is Shay Awasanya. I am the community manager at Parsec Education. And this space is really meant to be a conversation, not just a presentation. So keep your videos on, engage with us. Don't be afraid to, if you have any thoughts or questions, just feel free just to chat as we go. And then Kim, the next slide. So last week we were joined by Tim, who is our Senior Director of IT here at Parsec. He talked about the limits of instruction time and preparation and how AI can help kind of save time with things like creating rubrics or grading so that you all can spend more time building relationships with your kids. And then next week we have Erica Piedra from Fresno Unified. She'll be talking about how the district clarified their EL program and developed goals, but that also rolled out a plan with their students, families, and community partners. And then she'll also be highlighting how she's using Reel to elevate voices and also make sure that every decision made is being grounded with parents, staff, and their student input. And then just want to send a quick reminder, let you guys know that we do have our annual Measure What We Value conference next year, which is really about how we align every dollar to what matters most, which is student outcomes. So if you guys are interested in that, Kim will be putting in the URL to be able to purchase tickets. Our keynote speaker is going to be AJ Crable. He has an amazing book called Great on Their Behalf, and his keynote will be focused on some of these strategies that you guys can use. So super excited about our summit next year. And then before we get into our amazing webinar with our amazing guest, I want to just take some time to shout out any new guests. So if you guys are first-time guests, if you could just enter 1 in your chat, and then Kim will help just kind of welcome you guys and friendly call you guys out. Do we have any first-time guests? Linda. Oh, sorry, I'm taking your job, Kim. Linda, welcome. We're excited to have you on here. Anybody else? Stacy, welcome. All right. With that, I am very, very excited to welcome our guest, Chasmin Moses Forbes. Chasmin is an Oakland native and a passionate leader who built Life I Love School, which supports Black and Brown girls in historically marginalized communities. Her program really trains and places wellness coaches who help students build life skills through joyful, healing-centered experiences. Today, she'll talk about how student voice and feedback are helping shape the program and also what she's learning from the journey to be able to create more responsive environments for our kids. So Chasmin, it's great to have you here. You know that I'm inspired by what you've built, right? But to kick off with folks who are not familiar, do you mind just sharing a little bit about you, share how Life I Love School started and what sparked the vision?
Hey, y'all. So nice to be in community with all of you. I cannot wait to share my story. But before I get into that, I have some questions for our guests. And so I would love for y'all to think about a time in your childhood when you could show up fully as yourself. So go back. I'm going to give y'all a few more moments to go back because some of us have to go further back. No shade, just playing. And so think back to this place where you could show up fully as yourself. Who was there? How did they make you feel? What were you doing? So go ahead and think back. And as you're in that place from your childhood, go ahead and think about what values come to mind for you. And I'm going to invite y'all to put maybe 3 to 5 of these values in the chat. I would love to see what values came to mind. Thank you, Morgan, for kicking us off. Having fun, being around kind people, eating yummy treats, sports. Love that. I see other folks typing, so I'm gonna give us some more time. Free, fun, yes. Helping others, absolutely. And so as these are coming in, those are the values, those are the experiences that we try to cultivate at Life I Love School, specifically for Black and Brown girls. And so I'll get into my story now. Oh, exploration. Love that, Stacy. And so my name is Chasmin Moses Forbes, and I'm the founder and the executive director of Life I Love School in Oakland. As Shay mentioned, we create healing-centered, joy-filled spaces where Black and Brown girls in grades 3 through 8 can build emotional health, confidence, and community. And the heart of this work comes from my own childhood. And that picture right there, that is that first one, that's my grandma Moses. And every summer I spent time with her at her tiny, cute little quaint house in Eudora, Arkansas. And while she didn't have a lot, she gave me so much, right? Like that space, that safe space where I could just be myself, that freedom, just showing up, joy, love. And it was so consistent, right? I didn't have to question whether she was going to be angry one day or if we're going to have, like if I'm going to get in trouble with Grandma Moses. It just was that consistent space where I could just be, the freedom to just be. And, throughout my life, that joy has been key to my survival, right? Like when I'm going through losses or losing a job or relationship issues, I've been able to go back to that joy because I had exposure to it at an early age. And that's exactly what we want other girls to have. We want them to have access to consistent joy, peace, and the freedom to just be. And so when I was a classroom teacher in Oakland, I saw how often Black and Brown girls' emotional needs were overlooked or only addressed after a crisis occurred. And as a mom of two daughters, you see my two daughters there as well in that middle picture, I knew we needed prevention, spaces where girls could take off their mask, let their shoulders down, not have to perform, and just be themselves. And so that's why, with my board support, we launched Life I Love School. Before we go to the next slide, can you go back just a little bit? Thank you, Kimberly. That picture on the right, that was the girls group that I created when I was a classroom teacher at Reach in Oakland. All right, and so with all of this, my lived experience, experience as an educator in the classroom, I knew we needed something specific for our Black and Brown girls, which is why we launched Life I Love School. And so our vision is a world where Black and Brown girls are emotionally grounded, deeply connected to who they are, and surrounded by people who support their growth. And our mission, as Shay mentioned, is to source, train, and place wellness coaches in historically marginalized communities to help Black and Brown girls build essential skills like self-love, self-regulation, and self-accountability through joyful, healing-centered experiences. And so we started small, one school, one pilot in Oakland, but the need was clear and the demand for our program has been phenomenal. And in just 2 years, we've grown to 8 schools, reaching 160 girls. And so we always knew, like throughout this time of building Life I Love School, we always knew that data would be critical to our growth, not just numbers, but the voices, experience of the girls, families, and the partners we serve. And so that's why we now use Parsec education to really gather the experiences, that meaningful feedback to inform how we move forward as a company. So yeah, that's a little bit about Life I Love School and how we got to Parsec.
Sorry, you guys, I was muted. Thank you for sharing that, Chasmin. And from that foundation, I want to just learn more about your approach to how you listened to the girls. Like when it comes to gathering your student feedback, what was some of the bigger challenges that you had in the past?
Yeah, so building Life I Love, it's just been, me and my board. And so one of the biggest challenges has been not getting so overwhelmed with all of the things. And at the same time, balancing that with knowing that I need quality feedback in order to build something great. And so, just not getting overwhelmed by trying to track student feedback, family feedback, school partner feedback. And so within this, the specific challenges for capturing student voice have been knowing the right questions to ask and finding the most effective ways to collect data from the students.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I know when we talked, you talked about in the past you use Google Forms, but then you transitioned to Parsec Real, right? So how has that transition helped the way that you analyze the data that you're receiving, and you gather it, and then you then act on it?
So in the fall, fall 2024, when we started our first pilot program, we were using Google Forms and we collected um quantitative data, right? Like the Likert scale type of stuff, and then the open-ended. And that was great because it was a small group of 30 students. And so, thinking about students, we didn't use laptops. And so they were using pen and paper, and then I just translated everything to the Google
Yeah.
form. And so when we were growing, we realized like this isn't going to be sustainable. And so when we were introduced to Parsec, we were like, oh, this is going to help us streamline and take some of that overwhelm off of our plates because it's only going to be 5 questions and they're going to be able to quantify the qualitative, like what kids are saying in their responses. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say I want to shout you out for taking the time to take these written responses and then put them into the system. Like that's not easy work, right? So the fact that you are able to gather feedback easily is great to hear. Um, I know you uncovered a really powerful insight from a reel that you did. So do you mind just sharing what that insight was and what did it reveal to you about the needs of your students?
Yeah, so the evolution has been Google Forms, right? We started with Google Forms, and then spring, when we transitioned to 5 schools, we expanded to 5 schools. We were using Google Forms and Parsec. And so during that time, when we were collecting data using those two platforms, we uncovered with Parsec specifically that 91% of participants who took that survey, they reported experiencing emotional stress. And so having this data point unfortunately validated our work, right? Like we were seeing that our girls were emotional stress and we are actually addressing an issue head on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really powerful insight to know that that's what some of these girls are experiencing when they're going to school. So I'm glad that it was brought to light through them being able to speak up, right, and use their voice. So how are you using this data to shape the program moving forward?
Yeah, so as mentioned, it validated the importance of our work. Also from Parsec, we were able to uncover with that 91% of participants experiencing emotional stress. We also were able to uncover that 84% of our participants were learning how to manage their stress more effectively because of our program. And so that encouraged us to stay on the same track, right? Like mindful practices, mindful breathing, the healing through art concept that we've adopted. So it validated our work and it's supporting us with really thinking more strategically about our programs.
That's great. And then I know we're starting to wrap up, but for Stacy and Yang and who else is on here? We have Stacy and someone else. So for them on the call, what advice would you give to them when it comes to being able to make student voice a meaningful part of their decision making and really centering student voice just in general?
Simplify, simplify, simplify. We've been working with a doctoral fellow at Kaiser who supported us with coming up with the 5 questions for the students, the families, and the school partners. So just come up with 5 strong questions, and that is plenty. Also with that, get some benchmarks. I'm pretty sure we're all educators here, so benchmarking is very important. And so that pre, mid, and post survey will show, if you're on the right track. And then offer multiple ways to respond. So I don't know if this is sustainable, but especially for students, we want to make sure that we're collecting adequate, real data. And so one of the slides showed that with the 5 questions that we've been collecting on Parsec, we actually did a gallery walk. It did take a lot for me to manually enter it into Parsec, but I feel like it was quality feedback because of the mode. So think creatively about how you can get students to respond in some authentic ways. And then one of the perks that I love about Parsec education is the translation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shay, but I think it's like 50 languages, right? Like over 50 languages or something like
Right
that.
now it's 5, but we will get to
Oh,
50. Yeah, we will get to
sorry.
50. We're gonna manifest 50, but yes, 5.
Sorry. We're going to manifest 50,
Yeah,
but our communities, we have a lot of families and students who are English language learners. And so being able to put in, the English version and then Parsec automatically just translates everything for us has taken a lot of time from us. So using the translations to include all voices is another suggestion. And then building that trust with students so they can, give that honest feedback.
that's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And to close up before we get to the Q&A, what is next for Life I Love School? Like, what are your plans to expand your impact and what are you going to be doing next?
Y'all, we trying to get these dollars. We started with one school in Oakland a year ago. This fall, we are in 8 Oakland schools. And so that growth has been possible because of the data that we've been able to collect. And so what's next for us is we need to hire. And so as mentioned earlier, it's been me doing like all of the things. And now with us getting these contracts and we have some financial cushion, we're able to hire and expand our work even further. And with that, we're able to talk to donors more confidently, right? Like it's in black and white now. We are able to prove our concept and our impact, which is great. And so we hope to deepen our impact across Oakland and hopefully across California within the next 5 years. So that's what's next for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're going to love to just watch your journey and hopefully have you back to talk about what that journey is going to look like. But Chasmin, I want to thank you just for spending time with us and talking through how, our participants can learn from gathering feedback. Any final thoughts you want to leave for anyone before we open it up for Q&A? No? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Chasmin? And you can either come off of mute or you can put them in the chat. No questions? All right, we can go to the next slide, Kim. Again, Chasmin, I want to thank you just for joining us and being a part of our conversation. If you guys want to learn more about Life I Love School, we'll share links and resources in our follow-up email, but you have Chasmin's email and also website. Please check out the website. It's great. You can see the mission, what she's doing. You can see everything that she talked about in more detail. And then before we get off the call, I want to share something special we have for our smaller school partners. So we are offering a deal where up to 3 schools, districts, or charters, you guys can get real for a great price. What's included is that onboarding support and also a workshop. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about the deal, you please send an email to hello@parsekeducation.com. And we'll have someone follow up with you, and Kim will also put the email in the chat. But if there isn't anything else, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I know this week is crazy with back to school. If you have any questions, we'll be around for another 2-3 minutes. But thank you all for joining us.